All right, everyone, just got done riding with my buddy Mike, who's also my mechanic. You could check out his YouTube channel right here. And he was following behind me, and we're connected on the Cardinals the whole time. And my GoPro is on the very front of his bike, and he was following close behind me to like watch me ride and everything. So you get to see that perspective. So this is all about, so I've been doing 3 days in a row now, body position experimentation with the sport bike now. And to summarize and not go too in depth, also, when you watch me ride in a second in the video, I'm going to do a voiceover to kind of explain what I'm doing and whatnot. But just to give you kind of like a preview, I think people on all bikes, especially sport bikes, are moving way too much. So pretty much the only thing that I was doing is I moved my butt maybe 2 to 3 inches off to the inside. My outside knee is driving into the tank, and it's almost like my outside elbow is on my outside knee, like connected, and then I'm pretty much just straight up. I tried going really far off to the inside with my upper body and everything else, and everything I did, leaning too far off, moving my butt back really far, hanging way too far off just to drag my knee. Like I was able to drag my knee for every corner for like a little practice thing, but I felt so away from the bike and disconnected from the front end, it was horrible. So all I'm doing in the video, it's not gonna look like much, but I'm just moving my butt a little bit. You'll see my brake light come on, trail brake into the corner, but I'm pretty much just straight upright. And the more and more I think about it, and I want everybody to read this article. So I'm actually going to pin it to the top comment of this video. It's from Jason Pridmore talking about body position is like not realistic to compare to MotoGP. And he says in that article, I really want you to read it. And the more I ride and the more I practice, especially being back on a sport bike, the more I agree with it. Because people are trying to like, put their head below their handlebars, like he says in there, and trying to win social media. But it's super inefficient. It makes you way more tired and exhausted. It's not beneficial. Like, I don't think there's any point to getting your upper body really damn far off the bike. But for some reason, if I just stay neutral and not move my butt, I can't go as quickly and I don't feel as comfortable. But so I move my lower body a little bit, but I pretty much keep my upper body upright for the most part. Of course, I'm still pointing with my chin, leading with my chin where I want to go. And I just felt comfortable. So I'm like summoning my inner Jake Gagne, because Jake Gagne, 3-time champ, he pretty much keeps his head in the middle of the bike and just moves his lower body. Jason Pridmore, and then even Johnny Ray, 6-time champion for World Superbike in a row. And I want everybody to look at this picture. This is my all-time favorite picture of almost any racer ever, because it demonstrates absolute efficiency. And it's just amazing, like his outside, oh, that's another thing I was practicing with, not on this road, on this clip, but on a different thing, I was practicing like putting my heel on the outside foot peg, and it really like keeps me planted to the bike, doesn't allow me to hang off too far, and it drives my knee into the inside of the tank. But his outside foot is on the outside of the peg and just upright, lower body's off a little bit, but just riding around fast as crap. And what are you going to say? That's wrong to the 6-time World Superbike champ? Are you going to go tell Jake Gagne he's wrong because he's not trying to put his head below his handlebars and drag his elbow everywhere? It's pretty damn cool. So you'll see me watching. And so the footage is 4K 60 frames per second on like a narrow view. And there's no speedometer or anything like that because it's just on the front of my buddy's bike. We're moving at a good pace, but it doesn't seem like we're moving at all, and that's the point. There's nothing dramatic going on. There's no crazy movements or anything else. But I found out that this is the most comfortable for me, for my body type, on this type of bike. I just move my lower body a little bit, and that's really about it. But check out a little bit, and then as we watch the video, or as you watch the video, I'll also do a voiceover to kind of remind you of like what I'm doing and things to look at, right? So let's check that out. All right, so as we're watching, you see my brake light come on. I'm only using one finger to brake, and obviously since I'm still moving and I'm not slowing down dramatically, I'm just using a little bit of pressure, but keep the brake light on until I'm comfortable with my speed. As you can see, I kept it on for a while. As we're going through, so I'll move my butt first before I start to lean. So it's like butt before brakes. Going through the corner, and you can see my upper body, I'm just straight upright. Move my lower body off to the inside. Move my butt on over, and I just let my inside knee just kind of drop, but I'm not hanging off or like stretching it dramatically. I'm just kind of not even worried about it, just kind of doing what I'm doing. And I didn't touch my knee down once, except for the times I was hanging off way too far, like just purposely trying to touch my knee down. But otherwise, just riding, not moving my upper body much, and just keeping my outside leg driven up against the tank with my stomp grips, and just kind of riding around. So check out and watch my line, watch the brake light, watch my body, watch the timing of when I do all that stuff. so now I'm just gonna give you a demonstration statically on the bike. So let's do foot position first. So if I'm going to the right, my butt's off a little bit, and then I pretty much just keep my toe facing forward like this as is. I just kind of rotate on my pinky. That's all I would do. Some people like to put their toe like on the bottom of the foot peg like that and point their toe. But to me, my heel starts touching all the cables and it kind of gets messed up, and my toe, I don't want it to drag on the ground. And this is kind of like overextending my knee. Like this is really far stretching it out. So I just keep my toe perfectly on the foot peg, butt off a little bit. I just kind of let it hang down pretty much. Like my hips are still facing forward in the direction I want to go. But I'm not super stretched out my knee and pointing it out or anything like that. Just inside toe like that and just going here. Now the foot, if I'm going left, now the outside foot is when I like to do this. But like I said, if it's a bunch of switchbacks, it's a lot to move your foot back and forth from your toe to your heel. But if I'm on a long sweeping left-hand turn, I like to put my outside foot on the heel, and it drives my knee up against the tank and kind of locks me in the position. So you'll see. So for a left-hand turn coming up, so kind of do like my whole body first. So I'll show you like the whole movement. So I'm going. Left-hand turn coming up. So this is how much I move. Like that's it. Just move off to a little bit, breaking, and my outside foot, instead of being on my toes, I'm gonna drop my heel down here. When I drop my heel down, I'm pushing my ankle, my heel up against the heel guard, this piece of metal right here. So I'm going to the little boot part, that's going right on the foot peg. I'm driving my heel into the heel guard, and when I do that and butts off a little bit, my outside knee is really up against the tank. And like I said, like sometimes I'm riding like this, and my elbow, like with all my gear on, is pretty much touching my knee, just kind of right outside the gas tank, and that's all I'm doing. But when I do that, it just really locks in my whole lower body on the outside. And almost every professional racer, if you watch their outside foot, is pretty much on their heel like that, doing the same thing. Plus, it just gives your knee a little bit of break. Look at the angle right now. And if I go up on my tippy toes, that's a higher angle. So if I move my foot forward, it gives my foot a little bit of break. It starts to kind of hurt your knees after a while if you're riding around like this and your tippy toes everywhere. So kind of a little bit of a break as well. But just come directly behind me. So I'll show you the movement. So going, right? Move my butt a little bit. So I practiced, I went off like way too far, like really far back, hanging off really far, and I'm just feeling so disconnected. Like right now, I don't even feel connected to the bike. The front end feels like it's a million miles away, no sensitivity of the front tire, and I'm too far off the bike. This is way too damn much. So what I do, like you see in the video, just move my butt a little bit, and that's about it. Outside foot, maybe my heel up against the tank, and just inside foot, just kind of let it hang off naturally, and just go off to the inside a little bit like that. I'm not trying to do this. This is ridiculous. There's no need to put your face next to your hand way the hell over here. Just off to the inside. And come on back. A little bit of butt. Outside foot, either on your toe or on your heel, like that. But just a little bit off to the inside. And my head is just kind of pretty much not directly behind, like perfectly centered, but just kind of off, just so it's not behind the windshield. And I've said this before in another video. Come back around. I've said this before in another video. Imagine your windscreen. It goes all the way up 4 feet, as wide as it is, right? And I spray paint it black. So imagine that. How am I supposed to see? Well, I gotta move over. And I've always said upper body, just 6 inches, right? So if this goes all the way up and it's spray painted black, so here's it go. I'm going. Lower body off a little bit, upper body is just right here, just right off to the inside, in between the middle of the shield and my mirror. And that's it. There's no need to go way down like this. It's just unnecessary movement. You're gonna get tired way too quickly, and there's no point. So I highly recommend practicing this, just trying to move less, especially on a sport bike. We have so much ground clearance and the tires are so good, you don't need to be jumping off the bike completely. And just like it says in that article by Jason Pridmore, if you're trying to win social media, hang off the bike way more than you need to, wear yourself out way quicker. It's just, that's what's gonna happen. But we were riding around at a good pace all day today for 4 hours in the twisties, and I was just moving lower body. Just lower body a little bit. This is all I'm doing. A little bit of lower body, and head just going from one side to the other. Just 6 inches from the center that way, 6 inches from the center this way, and that's it. So now I remember all the people that I see on the twisties, especially if you're on a sport bike. Like, my God, dude, you're hanging off way too far. That's why you feel disconnected. That's why you don't feel confident. because you're too far off the bike. You have no connection with the bike at all. Same thing of moving really far back. If I'm really far back here like this doesn't make any much sense either, right? So if you're really, really close up to the bike, if you try to get off the bike, a lot of people's hips start to face the wrong way and their outside leg is not up against the tank. So this is what is called rotating around the tank, and you're trying to go left, but everything is facing right, so it's all crossed up. So that's bad. So I'm not perfectly all the way up against it. I'm not totally up against the rear seat. So I'm just kind of sitting like I'm going to the store, just like Jason Pridmore says, like, how did you ride to go to the store? Well, I'd ride like this, and that's perfectly fine. So now, just because you're going in the twisty roads around the track, why do you have to do something dramatically different with your body? You really don't. So all I do from here, like I'm just going to the store, upper body or lower body off a little bit, upper body naturally goes to the inside slightly. My elbow is pretty much almost against my knee. Outside arm is against the gas tank, and this is it. There you go. Move less, stop making so much effort to try to look cool, and ride more efficiently and quicker and safer. See you guys later.